The python slid through the stink and sludge of the woke swamp. He had been stuck in the angel world, dying from the deterioration he had experienced since he had revolted against God in heaven. This python choked children to ease his pain. It delighted him to cause such pain to the innocent. As he murdered the children, he mesmerized them with his unblinking eyes. All well and fine, but the frustration of being unable to pass the barrier into his destiny as ruler of humanity. He suffered impatience. If there was anything that a python was not, it was impatient. But he was impatient. How painful it was to be held in this veritable dungeon of the spiritual realm. He had a right to run rampant over humanity. He'd earned it. He had watched the first man and woman disobey their master, the one who had loved them so much. In that moment he knew earth belonged to him and him only. His rulership would prevail. His majesty would be worshipped, and he would insist upon all human flesh to take the mark. So why wasn't he allowed to have a body of his own? He liked to play around with nature. He liked to try new things. In the body of a pig, but he only had partial control. He watched through the eyes of the spider and sensed the fanged spider's fierce bloodlust. Oh, Satan squirmed with delight at the perverse waves of pleasure that flowed in and through his being from the wicked thoughts of the spirit biter. It felt so satisfying to be with her, the black spider, absorbed in her pulsing, pounding, raw, nervous the anticipation the spider felt when the food buzzed by. Oh, he yearned for more. A body suited for a king. He craved to grip his fingers into fists. How good it felt to stride into the sea of humanity. Billions of souls now who would answer only to me. To sink hard knuckles into soft, innocent flesh. Could there be anything more real than that to get your pulse bumping with true alertness and passion? Satan recedes like an astronaut, spinning out of control, hurling into the cold, dark deep. No dawn ahead to ease him to sleep. Darkness had no point of view. I know darkness, but I do not know you. Let's sit for a spell and talk about good things such as weariness of the dead, who may not sleep for even one moment as they burn in the heat. Oh, the heat is inevitable to one who has died in unholy acts, as was the meat of the fly to the spider as he watched it die. Oh, Satan's sensitivities vibrated with the spider's ease. Poisons dripped from his disease. Darkness hides within the trees. The path that winds through Mulberry Meadow exits on a cliff that looks out over the vast sea, teeming with colorful perch, salmon, red rock crabs with huge jutting claws, sharks in the salt water, clams on the beach. The sound of the frothing white waves pounding against the beach, the setting sun, a red blurry glow to the west, sitting very low to the water and concealed behind the blood clouds. His voice, he hated it. God's voice rang in his head. The words were not for him, and that filled him with full of dread, but the hate seething in his red glowing eyes knew the hatred within him, knew who that voice was talking to. Satan, in his spider spell, thought of heaven, cried, as hell crowded its image into his brain. Why must he think of it? There would be plenty of time to romance in hell. He hadn't to think of it now, which was all well and fine to him. These humans get a second chance. Is that true justice, or do I rant for no cause at all? I've got little to say to a God that would abandon his prized possession without a second thought, send him flying into darkness like a lit fuse. Lucifer, thrown high into the air, fizzles as he drops in utter despair. It is a fuse that sizzles to the end, but when he reaches the end of all he has got, he's not even allowed one last shout, one last exploding pop. No boom, snap, crackle, or quap. Nothing. Just the end of the fuse. No stick of dynamite that will save his pride and let him end his misery and drift out into nothingless sleep. Oh, why can I return to the void? A God of mercy would see to my comfort too. Why can I not do as humans do? Why am I not loved in his eyes as the prophet who is wise, or the priest of the Son of God who comes from the skies? He burns one flame that makes him wise, for he is the Word in the beginning. Yes, the Son was in fact the Word. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning. He was with God. Satan raised his face to the clouds. Why am I so despised in your eyes? Did I, as Adam, emerge from mere dust? I am Lucifer, and I own the skies of the second heaven where evil delights as it spins its lies. Oh, nothing like it since the sword of Goliath, nothing at all like the goblet of Saul. No spirit, soul, or cherub in flight could, with such pleasure as I, curse the night. I once stood in the warmth of your light. Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, my good God, do you realize I know the secret of where your treasure lies? Oh, it lies within the ocean of humanity's vast sea. God, you loved them who sinned 100 billion times. You loved your humans as sons of the brightest day or daughters of the night. I think it's true that darkness has a distinct point of view. I knew it well when you sent me to hell, that I escaped. How could you miss me, flying over that wall and mounting onto the outer realms against the thin space where the wet clouds damp and the white strands of angel hair can be felt by anyone who has wings and will and the muscle to struggle on and angrily fight? I do. Do I give up when I fall? It seems in that I exceed the strength, wit, and fighting spirit of all your humans. All of them together could stand against me. My blood rages green with ivy and jealousy. In the fall, I wonder how I landed upon this rock of yours, this rock of ages you so much adore. Why you love them more? Yes, darkness has a point of view. It is not a pleasant one, but it is a view. My child, I created night for you. I did not create you for the night. I did not block you from the light. I shine as the light. I want only your well-being, and for you, to the delight of me. So deeply, I wish for that. I want my people to delight in my goodness and say, you will be mine, that you will come live with me in heaven. Is that too much to ask? That you love me, for I first loved you. It is not a lot to ask of you. Who else ever hung on wood for you, a blood-stained tree? The blood came from me. I, willing, let my body bleed. I gave my blood for the sins of this world. No one else could save you, my child. No one else, not man, woman, beastly being, or object sitting, or plant dug into the ground and growing.